A woman who spent more than 10 years in the Arkansas State Hospital has now been found fit to stand trial. So, this is a case that I read about a couple of weeks ago, and at the time, I really mulled over everything about it. And I'll give my opinion, as I go, but let's just review the facts right now. So, according to the Benton County Sheriff's Office on August 11th, 2011, a woman called 911 and told police that she had shot a man on her front porch. Now, the woman, whose name is Huang Trong, now I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I did Google how to pronounce it. But the woman, who I will just call Huang, she told police that the man repeatedly knocked on her door. So police get to the home. Now, before police approach the home, they tell her to place the gun down and move away from the weapon. And she did that. So the woman made her way outside of the home per police's request, and they detained her as they then went in the home to search the home. They did find the weapon that she used. She had set it inside of a bedroom per their request. Now, in the affidavit, I find it pretty weird that they said in the affidavit, made a point of saying they found a large box of condoms in that same bedroom. But that's neither here nor there, because I really don't care about that. Now, the woman did ask police to check her roof because she felt like someone was on the roof. She also asked that someone check the bedroom, said that her telephone line had been cut. She alluded to police that she was beat up or had been beat up in the past, and that she had had something poured down her throat or was forced to ingest something. Now, there was a little bit of a language barrier, but the woman pointed out to police that she shot the man in the abdominal area. I don't think that she intended to murder the man, but he did die as a result of his injuries. Now, I don't think that police were able to find any evidence of anything that she had said. They were not able to find any evidence of anyone being on the roof, or obviously the phone line being cut because she used the phone to call 911, or anything like that. Police were able to find that Huang had a brother that lived near her, and they went to visit her brother. Now, her brother told police that a woman named Ho Li took the victim to Huang's house, and so naturally police went to speak with Ho Li. Now, Ho Li told police that the man, his name was Mentem, and Mentem found an online ad for a massage. So that is why he requested to be taken to Huang's home. Huang did massages, sometimes with a happy ending, depending on how she felt about the individual. So basically, what happened was Mentem went to Huang's home. There was a brief conversation. Huang told him repeatedly to leave. He didn't. Maybe there was some miscommunication, so she shot Mentem, and he just fell backwards and died. And so the person that had taken him to the home, Ho Li, she just left. She told police that she didn't call police to tell what happened because she was afraid, she didn't speak English, and she wouldn't be able to communicate with dispatchers. So police executed a search warrant on Huang Chong's home, and they also spoke to Huang Chong. And according to police, Huang Chong was very upfront about everything. She was upfront about the massages. She was upfront about having shot Mentem. She just didn't have a lot of affect. She told police that she was afraid whenever Mentem came to her home. Not that she really knew him or had a reason to be necessarily. She just felt fear and didn't want him there. She said that she'd had people beat her up before, pour feces and urine in her nose. And she said that she had had people plant bugs and transmitters in her ears. Now, she did tell police that she believed that in the United States, you have the right to shoot someone if you don't want them at your home. And like that, she wasn't just saying that, like police even believed, like she actually believed that. Now, for what it's worth, Hong Trong was found unfit to stand trial, and she was sent to the Arkansas State Hospital, where she spent more than 10 years. And just recently, just last month, was she found fit to finally stand trial. As far as I know, it looks like she has been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, which fits a lot of the symptoms that she was having, believing that people planted bugs and transmitters in her ears, thinking that there were people on her roof, and also the lack of affect, like how she just was so matter of fact about talking about having, shot this man. So as far as I can tell, it seems like now they have brought her back to finally stand trial. My question is, how long does a person spend in the state hospital before the state needs to be like, you know what, they're just unfit to stand trial? She was unfit whenever this happened. Obviously, she was not in her right mind, or she wouldn't have had to go spend 10 years in the state hospital. So at what point are we just wasting money? I mean, honestly, if you think about it, she spent more time in the state hospital than a lot of people spend in prison over murder. Like, let that sink in. So I just feel like I just feel like if a person is unfit to stand trial, like truly, truly unfit to stand trial, and it's taking a while to get them fit to stand trial, a while, like while they're sitting there taking the medication, trying to get leveled out, and it's just, 10 years in the making, pull the plug, call it quits. Like, I just feel like it's frivolous at that point to continue to attempt to prosecute that person. Now, I do have another case that I was able to look up, another person who also was schizophrenic, and how that case was treated by the state of Arkansas. So on October 8th, 2018, a woman named Kathy Jordan did not show up for work, and that was unusual. Her employer also knew that Kathy had been telling her employer that she was having problems with her son, whose name was Dustin Jordan, and that because of the issues with Dustin Jordan, Kathy was in fear of her safety. So the employer called the police and asked them to do a welfare check. Police went to the home of Michael and Kathy Jordan. At the time, they lived on Compressor Road in Ratcliffe, Arkansas, which is in Franklin County. When police got to the home, it was about 4:30 in the afternoon. They tried to make contact with the Jordans, and they were unable to get anybody to answer the door, but they did notice a bullet hole in the front window. Now, police couldn't just see into the home because of the shades that were on the window, but after some more deputies got to the home, they made their way into the home. Now, when they made their way into the home, they immediately saw a white male who was laying face down on the floor in a pool of blood around his body. There were multiple spent 9mm shell casings. After locating the male, they then located the female. These two were identified as Kathy and Michael Jordan. Both had been shot multiple times, and both were lying in pools of blood. Police continued to search the home, and in the home they found an empty box of 9mm shell casings in the bedroom of Dustin Jordan. The vehicle that Dustin Jordan owned, it was a truck. It was still at the home. Instead, the vehicle owned by Michael and Kathy Jordan, a truck, was missing. Police were able to find text messages that were exchanged between Kathy and Michael Jordan 2 days prior to the time that police found Kathy and Michael murdered in their home. And they were messages sent from Kathy to Michael. Kathy is telling Michael that she caught Dustin trying to sneak into her room while she was sleeping, and he tripped over a dog gate that was in the doorway, and that caused her to wake up, and Dustin went back to his bedroom. So obviously, she's showing that she was in fear of her safety. Now, police did not know where Dustin Jordan went, but they were able to find that the day before the bodies were found, so on October 7th, Dustin Jordan was in that vehicle that was stopped in Guthrie, Oklahoma. So he had made his way to Oklahoma. They also were able to find that in May of that same year, 2018, Mr. and Mrs. Jordan reported to police that Dustin had become aggressive and struck his dad, Michael, before pulling a knife on Michael and threatening him. Dustin Jordan was found the next day in Oklahoma, where he was arrested and eventually returned to Arkansas. Now, he and his attorney entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, that he was going to rely on a mental health defense, right? So the Arkansas Department of Human Services did the normal testing that they do, and they determined that he met the criteria for a schizophrenia diagnosis, and that he, quote unquote, lacked the capacity to understand the proceedings against him due to mental disease. As part of Dustin Jordan's history, it seemed that Dustin Jordan joined the military at some point in time, and after being in the military for a short amount of time, very short, he told his petty officer that he was having a little bit of anxiety, and on his third day in basic training, he was admitted to the Federal Health Care Center. He was reportedly hospitalized for 3 or 4 months in May of 2018 after he pulled the knife on his dad. And also around the same time, threw a homemade bomb into a pond near some kids. He was court ordered to be admitted to Valley Behavioral Health in Fort Smith. He was there for 7 days before he was released, and he was ordered to go to outpatient treatment in June of 2018. Now, I do think that the Franklin County Court did try to get Dustin Jordan to a place where he could stand trial, a place where he was fit to stand trial, but that just didn't happen. So after almost 2 years, in August of 2020, Dustin Jordan it was ruled that he was acquitted by reason of mental disease or defect. And for a time, he was at the state hospital. He's no longer there. He has been moved to step down programs that are monitored by the court, by the way. It's not like he's just out in public. But I think that that's more the way to go, rather than someone sitting in the state hospital for 10 years and then bringing them back to stand trial for something that happened 10 years ago. I don't know, though. What do you guys think? Like, what's your opinion on this? Do you think that 10 years is too long to wait for someone to get in their right mind, to become stabilized on medication, to where they understand the proceedings that are going to happen, where they understand the levity of what's happened when they were mentally ill? Or do you think that no matter how long it takes to get them levelized where they can stand trial, that they should always stand trial for what they've done?